Hey, I'm Ryan from Fox, and today I'm going to show you how to remove and install your fork for sending into service. So as you go through this video, if there's anything that's beyond your skill level or makes you uncomfortable, feel free to take your bike to your local bike shop and they'll sort you out. So the first step is removing your axle and dropping the front wheel out. This one's got a quick release, but if you have a Kabolt, you'll need to use your Allen key. So before you take your caliper off, it's a good idea to take a picture with your phone so that you get the spacer configuration the same when you go to install it. So the next step is to remove your caliper. Just going to want to be careful that you don't lose any spacers as you back the bolts out. And once you have that off, you can just let your caliper hang. So the next thing you're going to want to do is remove your hose clamp with your 2.5mm Allen key. So the next step is to remove your top cap. To do this, you'll use a 4mm Allen. So the next step is to loosen the pinch bolts on your stem. You want to make sure that you have your fork supported. And once you've done that, you can slide the stem off of the steer tube and just let it hang. So once the stem is off, you can remove any headset spacers you have. Slide your fork out of the steer tube. So now you're ready to send your fork in for service. If you have a Fox mudguard, you can remove that using a chamferless 13mm socket on these two bolts and a 2mm Allen on the bolts on your arch. So now I'm going to run you through the steps on how to reinstall your fork once you get it back from service. First thing you want to do is apply a thin layer of grease to the upper and lower headset bearings. So once you've greased your headset, you're ready to slide the fork back into the head tube. So you just want to hold the upper portion of your headset still, slide the fork in, replace any headset spacers that you've got, and slide the stem back onto the steer tube. So once your stem is back on the steer tube, you can install the top cap and tighten the bolt just enough so that there's no play, but also the headset isn't dragging. And once you've done that, you can tighten your stem pinch bolts to the torque spec of the stem manufacturer. So for this particular stem, the torque spec is going to be 5 Newton meters. So once your fork is on the bike, you can install your front wheel. If you're installing your front wheel using a Kabolt, using a 6mm Allen, you're going to want to make sure that the axle is torqued to 17 Newton meters. So next thing, you're going to want to tighten your pinch bolt with a 6mm Allen, and the torque here is 5.1 Newton meters. So the next step is to pass the caliper in between the front wheel and your fork leg. Put the caliper onto the disc and loosely tighten your caliper bolts. Next, you can install your hose clamp using your 2.5mm Allen key. And just be careful doing this so that you don't strip it. In order to finish installing your brake caliper, you want to hold your front brake down and tighten your bolts down. And by doing this, your wheel should spin freely and not contact the rotor. So the last step is to just double check that your headset's got no play by holding the front brake and rocking the bike back and forth, and just making sure that your stem is in line with your front wheel.